welcome to the B-Movie Podcast with your hosts, Jordan, Aaron, and Silent Steve. Step on into the vault.
Welcome to the Voltcast. This is Jordan.
And this is Silent Steve again.
And we were just recording without recording. Just like Bruce Lee could fight without fighting.
This isn't the first time this has happened.
So we're on our way to see Shin Godzilla, and we're on the road, so that's what that noise is in the background.
Yeah, and I can't even remember everything that we just talked for 10 minutes.
We talked for 10 minutes about awesome Halloween stuff.
I thought it was recording the whole time.
Because I kept my eyes on the road. Damn it! So this is our new Halloween episode.
And let's just
recap everything that we just said.
To make a long story short, here's what we were saying. All right, so you guys are never going to be here for the awesomeness that happened. It was our best podcast ever, and it's lost. We love Halloween. We watch scary movies a lot, and every year we try to do a Halloween podcast because it's sort of our holiday. So the hard part is really picking a topic, and we decided to go with hidden gems and favorite movies, like stuff that really gets you in the mood.
Yeah.
For the season.
And you started off, we talked about stuff like more like kids' fare that we watched.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like it's a holiday that's appealed to me since I was a child. Obviously, everybody. So like. I'm not against around that time of year watching stuff that's like a little more kid fare. Like I try to watch The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Disney one, not the Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
Hip and a hippity clop. He's out looking for a head to swap. So don't try to figure out a plan. You can't reason with a headless man.
Which I don't think is bad either. I enjoy that.
It's not bad, but it's not. I want to be very specific here. That it's the old cartoon that really.
With Ichabod Crane.
It has the atmosphere that I like. So I watched that, but I don't know. I mean, like to pick. All right, you go ahead.
Well, like I said before we recorded, Space Invaders is a big one for me because it's about aliens that come down to Earth on Halloween night because they think there's a war going on down here, and it turns out they were listening to War of the Worlds.
Make out a small beam of light against a mirror. What's that? There's a jet of flame springing from the mirror, and it leaps right at the advancing men. It strikes them head on. Lord, they're turning into flames. Now the whole field's caught up by the woods and fires.
Yeah, and that's a great movie because it isn't just set during Halloween, but Halloween is a plot device. It's the reason these aliens can walk around and not be noticed.
Well, it helps that they're like all 4 feet tall too.
They look like kids in all alien costumes. And people make comments, "Oh, your costume looks so great," you know.
Yeah.
But it's great because I think the key to making a really, really good Halloween movie is to actually incorporate the holiday somehow. Which is why we both like Halloween 3, where the Halloween is not just a backdrop to the story, it's part of it.
Yeah, it's an integral part of the plot.
It's not like, oh, this is set during Halloween. It's like, Halloween is very important to this story functioning the way it does. So, you mentioned Trick or Treat.
Yes.
Which is really good.
Yep.
Trick or treat!
This is the one night that all sorts of things roam free.
That's a great...
and that also purposely includes the holiday instead of the holiday being a backdrop.
But like you said, the difference between that and most anthologies is that all the stories are intertwining. And
yeah, most anthologies are, it's not like one of these guys sitting by a fireplace going into our next story. It's woven together very deftly. And even though the stories don't merge, so to speak, they're all happening in the same town, and they happen around each other.
Yeah.
So
sometimes characters from another story will show up in the background of the one you're watching.
So it's a little, dare I say, clever compared to other anthologies, but it still has the weakness that every anthology has, which is that you're at some point going to compare or pick out which story is your favorite. It's almost impossible to do because they're in the same movie, so it's hard not to pit them against each other. Yeah. But they're still all very good stories.
Yeah, they're all very strong. Like, almost every anthology has that one weak story in the middle where you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, Tales from Halloween.
Every year on Halloween, this town goes batshit crazy.
It's a newer anthology. It has the one at the climax, the story is about, like, this genetically created pumpkin that goes on a rampage and, like, kills people.
Yeah.
So you see, like, a jack-o'-lantern biting people's heads off and stuff. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But in the middle, there's this really bizarre one about, like, this browbeaten husband whose, like, wife turns into a witch before his eyes. And it's bizarre, and it doesn't make any sense, and it's my least favorite portion of the whole thing.
Yeah, you run into that. That's impossible to avoid with horror anthologies. Which is strange, because, like, horror is the only thing you get in an anthology, isn't it?
For the most part, yeah.
It's kind of odd.
I think they try to do that with, like, comedy, with, like, Movie 42 or something, where it was, like, 42 short comedy segments slapped together in one movie.
Oh, I heard, yeah, and that's supposed to be horrible.
It's from what I've heard, it's god-awful, yeah. So, I think horror is the only way it could actually do it.
Huh. Anyway.
Yeah. You're going to have to think more on that.
Yeah. So, to get to our hidden gems and personal favorites, I can't help but feel like we're going to get off the track of the holiday just a little bit because we're talking about movies.
Yeah.
Both of us have picked movies that really aren't Halloween movies. They're more movies that we will more likely to watch around Halloween.
Yeah.
So I want to start with the hidden gem. On a whim, we watched a couple movies and they were just really good. We didn't think they were going to be. So we'll start. Let's start with the one that I think isn't as good as the other one we found, which is the house.
The House Where Evil Dwells.
The House Where Evil Dwells.
With Doug McClure.
They were strangers from the West, learning to live in harmony with their new home. Everything seemed perfect until they learned the truth about the house where evil dwells.
With Doug McClure in a way that you've never seen him before. It's set in Japan. Doug McClure is like an ambassador in Japan, and he's welcoming this family who have come over. It's like a stay-at-home wife and a daughter, and the father is, I guess, doing research into Japanese culture to write a story, but he's also kind of a photographer. So, like, what I don't know, he's one of these artsy types. Yeah. It's one of those things where he doesn't, it isn't clear what he's actually doing, but I've met people like that in real life, so it doesn't take away. It's like, yeah, I've met these kind of guys. They're just doing whatever.
But the important portion is that the house that they live in now was the scene of a crime, like, centuries earlier.
Centuries earlier, the house they move in and is cursed, and everybody warns them that it's cursed, and of course you're just going to laugh this off. Okay.
Yeah.
They were told the stories were only legends, tales told from generation to generation. It happened 100 years ago, and now it's about to happen again.
Can't hurt me, I'm white.
Like we said, it was kind of like like a early version of The Grudge.
It's a lot like The Grudge, and it makes me wonder if The Grudge is actually a playoff of, like, typical... Because I don't know a lot about Japanese culture, to be honest. So I wonder if, like, The Grudge is just a playoff of, like, old Japanese myth about ghosts.
Could be. But it's pretty entertaining because...
It's better than The Grudge, by far.
Oh, absolutely.
As far as being entertaining.
Like, the effects are, like, low budget, but the projected ghosts actually... interact pretty well with the people on the screen.
They do, but
for the most part,
we should be honest here and say that it's not easy to take this movie seriously.
Oh no,
because they look like Force ghosts from Star Wars. They're like
Well, to be clear, there's a trio of ghosts and main ghosts, and it's a husband and wife. The wife cheated on the husband with like a younger samurai, I guess.
Yeah,
the husband came home and killed them.
Yeah, yes. I mean, we're not running anything. That's literally the first, and it's all in slow-mo.
Yeah.
That's the first 5 minutes of the movie. Is this one guy just being brutally hacked to death.
And then for some reason the ghosts want to reenact the entire event.
That's the part I don't get. Like,
house.
in their afterlife, they want to still be douchebags. So, yeah, they're like force ghosts, and they start messing around with these people who moved into the house.
And then they trick the researcher's wife into getting cozy with his ambassador pal, and they have an affair.
Well, you're jumping ahead though.
Yeah.
But what the ghosts actually have a plan. And they're working, even though they killed each other in real life. They're working together harmoniously in the afterlife, and they're trying to make these three characters of Doug McClure, the artsy father, and the wife, fill the roles that they had in real life. Okay, so they start manipulating the people at first, and then they just downright start possessing them.
Yeah, at the climax. And prior to that, there's like these two like hilariously weird scenes. There's one where there's a ghost inside the kid's like soup.
There's an awful face in my soup.
Come on, eat your soup for Daddy.
No!
Oh yeah.
It screams for no
that part
reason.
is hilarious.
And the kid refuses to
like,
drink
if you're
it.
okay, we're not telling you this for spoilers. If you're watching this movie, you're like, oh my gosh, why did they tell us to watch this? Hang in there, because by the time you get, that's like the tipping point for the movie. Once you get to the screaming soup, you've reached the point of no return, and you know you're going to keep watching this movie. So without getting too far into the future, I don't want to spoil too much. I don't know, maybe you can figure out a way to timestamp or make a mark so they can skip ahead, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody that wants to watch it.
Well, I mean,
you do see Doug McClure in a way that you haven't before.
Well, yeah, he's a total sleazeball.
He's a sleazeball. He's the only one that doesn't have to be possessed.
Yeah, and as an added bonus, you see the lead actresses topless, like, God, how many times? Like 3 or 4?
Well, I don't know if that's an added bonus.
Well, you get to see her topless numerous times.
If that's your thing.
But I mean, you need that for a horror movie. You need the titillation. Keyword tit. So.
Yeah, okay.
Are you going to bring up the crabs?
Oh, I forgot about the crabs.
How could you forget about them?
Yeah, that's one of the best parts of the movie.
For no reason, these like 2 gigantic, like shrieking crabs start chasing. Like,
don't they laugh too?
They're like
laughing and shrieking crabs.
Yeah.
When we say crabs, we mean crabs, not like,
literal.
They're actual crabs, and they're chasing a small child up a tree. If that doesn't make you want to watch the movie, I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, it's worth a watch. What I do like is that it doesn't. It's like they know the characters are annoying, and it doesn't try to make you come to some kind of hammy conclusion where everything ends up okay. Nothing ends up okay at the end of this movie. So you're watching their lives fall apart. But let's be honest, all these people had no control over their lives when they arrived in Japan. So there's nothing. The only person I feel bad for is the kid, honestly, by the end of the movie. But anyway, yeah, that's worth a watch. Okay, so the next one that I want to mention is Destroyer.
Everyone thought he just died, but no one ever dreamed he'd become Destroyer, the perfect killing machine.
Destroyer, I basically, to give you an idea what it's like when Jordan and I hang out, for those of you that don't know us personally or never hung out with us, Jordan will bring over his little bag of tricks, which is basically a shopping bag with just whatever DVDs he pulled off of his shelf that night. And I lay these DVDs out, okay? Let me get these people in the mindset of what happened.
Okay.
I lay these DVDs out and I make like a bracket on the floor. This is fun for me because I get to watch him, like the pained expression on his face when I eliminate a movie that he probably wanted to watch. So,
when I'm not using the Jedi mind trick to make you pick the one I want.
Yeah, right. So I just slowly, by process of elimination, got down to Destroyer, almost totally based on the box art, okay? Because on the box it has a guy wearing a skull mask, holding a...
Well, he's supposed to be electrocuted, and that's his actual skull in the cover.
Oh, okay.
But he's holding the jackhammer.
And he's holding a jackhammer as his kill weapon. I'm like, okay, that might be worth a watch. Little did I know that I was going to be taken down a rabbit hole of insanity that I haven't seen in a movie for quite a while. And I can't believe it, but this is the best performance I've ever seen by a football player in a movie. The guy, his name is escaping me right now.
Yeah, now I'm sitting here like, what was that guy's name? I know he fought Muhammad Ali.
And this isn't the only movie he was in. He was an Oakland Raider.
Yeah.
And for reasons I don't understand, I can't remember his name right. This happens to us every show.
Yeah,
people don't listen. Obviously, nobody's listening to us because of our vast knowledge of the movies we watch.
Well, he was also the villain in Ernest Goes to Camp. I almost want to say John Matuszak, but I know it's not John Matuszak.
It's not John. Well, the reason you're thinking John Matuszak is because this was back when the Raiders were in L.A. and the Raiders and the Rams would get actors in movies and television shows a lot because their stadium was right there.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of Raiders that are in film. The one big bad from Conan the Barbarian, he would play for the Raiders. Of course, John Matuszak, who's a really great actor also.
Yeah.
But this guy, and I just want to punch myself in the face that I can't remember his name. He steals the show here, okay?
Absolutely.
Right away, he takes hold of the movie, and he's on death row, and he's watching a game show.
Yeah, he's watching Wheel of Fortune.
Or it's like Wheel of Fortune.
It's like Wheel of Fortune, yeah, but he's screaming at the TV.
And he's just hamming it up, and it's almost like he's the only actor that realized how bad the script was, and just gave the performance the movie deserved. So at first I thought, well, why is he being so hammy and these other people are being like that serious? But then by the end of the movie you'll get it.
Oh yeah.
So anyway,
it's this very slow burn. It's a
slow burn first half because you think that this guy has been electrocuted.
Well, he was.
Okay, so he was.
Yeah.
The theory the movie posits is that he's so tough.
Maybe he's like that guy in the Halloweens who keeps getting killed, so he doesn't know if he's dead or just dreaming.
But it's never really, because the whole beginning is a dream sequence anyway.
True.
It's never really established whether or not he died. It's just assumed he died in the beginning.
But the prison, there's a riot rate during the time he's electrocuted, and then after that it's shut down, and then
but to be fair, he's really being electrocuted when it starts, so it's not like people think, oh, that's what happened, the power went out, why didn't they know he's on the loose? It's not like that at all. The prison ends up being shut down for a myriad of reasons, and the movie is actually about a film crew with Anthony Perkins as the director.
Yes.
A film crew that is making a movie sort of based on the events there, I guess.
They're making like a sleazy women in prison
movie. It's a women in prison movie, but like...
Inspired by the events.
Inspired by the events. Yeah. Oh, what it is... No, I don't think it's inspired by the events. It's that the screenwriter... This is what it is. The screenwriter... And none of this matters, by the way. You don't even have to listen to this. This whole part of the movie doesn't matter at all. But the screenwriter who's making the sleazy, sleazeball, women in prison, late night Cinemax kind of movie is also trying to be a serious screenwriter and write a story that's about that event, the riot that took place.
Yeah.
And he gets on the news and stuff. I don't know why.
Trash talks the sheriff.
Yeah, trash talks the sheriff.
The warden of the original facility.
Yeah, the warden of the original facility and stuff like that. So he's trying to be taken seriously, and he's really annoying, but don't worry, that pays off. And there's a bunch of characters that don't matter. They're just like fodder, really. This is another hang in there. If you're going to hang in there for the house where evil dwells. The house where evil dwells to the screaming soup section. The turning point for Destroyer, even though it's sort of entertaining up to this point, but the turning point where it just goes above and beyond where it needs to be as a movie is right after the prison shower scene.
Oh yeah, that's like the key moment where the movie
That's
just
the
says,
key moment of the
"Let's do
movie. All of a sudden, the movie's like, you know what? Everything we're doing now, let's throw it out the window.
Yeah.
And let's just murder all these people. So they're filming like a shower scene for the prison movie and whatever about that part. I mean, if you're into Jordan's titillation, sure. But like, there's that going on. But then this guy comes back. And he just starts to finish his work. This football player. I can't remember the character name.
I know.
This is bugging me.
Serial killer Ivan Mosher.
So anyway,
If only we had a smartphone.
based on the box art, I thought that he was going to use the jackhammer all the time, and it was going to be like his trade weapon. He does use it for a scene, a fun scene. But he uses it for a scene, and that's it. So if you think, oh, here we go, he's going to pick that up and use it on it, he doesn't. But he does something better. He finds creative ways, very, very, very creative ways to start taking care of the rest of the cast. The great thing about this movie is that if you ever wanted to see like a mashup of Friday the 13th and a Terminator movie, because he just keeps coming at these people like the Terminator, you know.
Well, the best part is, and here's the killer dressed in a cop's uniform that doesn't fit him, by the way.
No, he cuts the
the back of the boots.
He tailors the clothing so that it'll get onto him. But he looks like you know, you've seen those kids that their parents leave their clothes on a little too long, like they should have bought another pair at some point. That's what it looks like, because the pants are way too tight and the jacket's cut so he can move his arms, and it's just hilarious.
And there's a whole subplot where he's obsessed with the one stunt woman on the shoot too. She keeps having nightmares about him.
And she keeps having nightmares about him, but it isn't like the point.
Yeah.
This isn't like Ripley or Sarah Connor, where like it gets down to the woman and she's just constantly running away from him, and he's destroying everything in his path.
Oh, literally.
Now he's half the man, twice the animal. Unstoppable, unbelievable, indestructible.
And what he does, and this is why I mentioned the screenwriter earlier, what he does to this one guy over and over and over and over and over again is so funny. He just beats the living crap. This guy has already given up and he's still beating him. It is hilarious.
I think my favorite moment is when they're trying to escape in a car inside the prison, and then he leaps onto the car and he like rips open. Does he rip open the top? No. How does he get the hold of the guy? Does he rip the hole in the roof?
It's one of those soft roofs. It's not metal.
Okay.
He punches through and
he punches through and grabs the poor bastard and throws him out of the vehicle.
He does some stuff to him inside the car first too, though, like to just to loosen him up before he pulls him out.
I gotta watch this again. I'm a little foggy on some of
He
this.
slams him around inside just to get him ready for his body to be pulled out of a car and thrown into the air down onto the concrete. It's beautiful. It's like, you watch a documentary and a dolphin jumps out of the water.
Yeah.
Except it's a man's body being thrown from a car. So he throws the guy out, and that's not even that's like, you've got 20 more minutes or something like that of him beating this guy.
Yeah.
Where he's just, my favorite part's where he takes him and just starts slamming his body on those bars.
Oh, yeah.
And rubbing his face back and forth along the bars.
I totally forgot about that.
But it isn't just what's happening; it's the performance. The performance of this football player, and I hate myself right now. But tell you what, we'll make up for it by naming the podcast after him. The performance of this guy sets this movie apart to the point where I don't know why I haven't heard of it yet.
Yeah.
Honestly. And you got a suggestion out of the blue, right, to watch it? So you didn't really know a lot about it.
I just remember the box art from the old video store days.
Yeah. So yeah, check that out.
Yes, it's amazing.
It is amazing.
He just plays the evil character with glee. He's just having a blast.
And okay, so both these movies we mentioned, though, they're not like Halloween themed. But if you're looking, if you're digging, you want a new movie to watch, those two are worth a watch. All right, so now we're going to get into our personal faves, and these are movies that, again, they're not necessarily Halloween movies, but you don't have to watch something that takes place during Halloween to get in the mood for the holiday.
Absolutely.
We're creatures of habit, and typically what you'll end up watching on a holiday is like a movie. I mean, like, how in the world did a Wizard of Oz become a Christmas movie? You see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's just like...
Christmas movie?
Yeah, people watch that around Christmas.
Weird.
Well, it is weird, but we're about to talk about movies that have nothing to do with Halloween that we're going to watch around Halloween.
Oh, that's true.
You start off with yours, because yours are more mainstream, and then we'll get into my stuff.
Okay. Every year, I have to watch at least the original Halloween, but I try to sneak the first 3 in.
Yeah. So you're more partial to 1 and 3, right?
3 is my absolute favorite at this point, which I never thought I would ever say.
Because when I watched 3 when I was a kid, and I didn't get the...
Oh, we were all pissed off as kids. Like, what is this garbage? There's no Michael Myers.
Yeah, that was basically it. It felt like you were duped because, I mean, there was no continuity with the series. But when you get over that...
But once you get over that,
once
you give it a chance.
Yeah.
You're like, this is
I think
crazy.
I've said it before. It's a really good horror movie that has the unfortunate title of Halloween because it doesn't have anything to do with Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Nor should it. I mean,
he was dead by part 2. He burnt up.
Yeah.
Part 4 is bullshit.
Yeah. We've talked about 3 at length.
Yeah, we have.
We're going to talk about the first 2. You like the first one, and it's not that I dislike the first one. I just like the second one a little better.
Well, yeah, because...
Once you get past the fact that he should be dead.
I shot him 6 times!
How is he alive?
And he went to the ER to kill Jamie Lee Curtis!
Yeah. Well, I think he went to the ER to get medical attention, and he's like, oh, hey, she's here. Why not?
There's probably a deleted scene where he, like, yanks the bullets out, like, drugs himself, and sews himself back up. It's like, all right, let's go.
The pacing is a little better, in my opinion. And the kills are a little more inventive.
Yeah,
if you can get around the fact that the movie shouldn't be happening at all, it's a lot more entertaining, in my opinion. In fact, if you just watched that first and didn't watch the first 2 minutes, it would be a really good movie on its own. But the first one started it all. The first one is a lot more atmospheric and dare I say, just creepier. I'd say the difference between the first one and the second one is the first one, there's this sense of dread that he could be there at any time, and that he's just always been there. It's just a lot more artfully done. Where the second one, you know he's there. You just don't know where.
You don't know when he will strike.
Yeah, just don't know when he's going to strike. So it's just different in that way.
Until the music lets you know.
Yeah.
Also, Night of the Demons, I watch a lot on Halloween time. Have you seen that one?
When you said Night of the, my mind went to Night of the Creeps. I think I've seen Night of the Demons. Tell it to me.
Night of the Demons. Party till you drop.
Talk me off.
This group of quote-unquote teens go up to this place called Hill House, and they decide to throw a Halloween party there, but it turns out that while they're doing it, they resurrect some demons, and they slowly get taken over one by one and die in all kinds of gruesome ways. And it has Linnea Quigley, who's a scream queen from the 80s, and it has this really disturbing scene where she takes a tube of lipstick and shoves it through her nipple.
Okay, I think I have seen that. I think doesn't it have a sequel too?
It actually has 2 sequels.
I've seen the sequel also.
You've probably seen the one where like the girl's boobs turn into hands and like attack a dude.
Yeah.
And then there's a nun in there that fights the demons. She has like a ruler and a crucifix and everything.
Yes. Okay. But the second one I remember a little more. But yeah. I believe I've seen both of those. So you like watching it every year?
Yeah. I mean, it takes place on Halloween night, but everyone's going to this party. Hell Night's also kind of a cool one with Linda Blair.
Okay.
It's a similar story.
Pray for day, Hell Night.
Right, these are all movies that you didn't say you were going to talk about.
Well, they came to mind all of a sudden.
You're just...
Okay, and here, I'll just finish up with John Carpenter's The Thing is one I watch every single year.
Yes.
Every single year.
Now the men of Station 4 have made a monumental discovery. An alien creature had frozen but not to death. And man
It isn't Benny.
is the warmest place to hide.
And you know what? At some point, that might be one of my yearlies. I know it was definitely one of my yearlies a while ago, but you know, I've been so busy lately. I don't squeeze in as many movies as I would have liked. The Thing is possibly like it goes out. It is so good that it goes outside the realm of horror to being talked about as greatest movies all time.
Yeah.
In my opinion. You won't find a better 10 Little Indians kind of story where you just got characters being knocked off.
Yeah.
It's just perfect. There isn't anything I would change about that movie. And you can't say that about a lot of movies.
Mm-hmm. And I learned something about it recently. Like when I watch it again, I'm going to keep an eye out for it. Was it Dean Cundey said that they had a very artistic and not overt way of showing who was still human and who was not.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody was human, they would make sure that they would have like a little, like, do the lighting so that you could see like reflection of the light off their eyes. If they were like one of the things, you know, their eyes would just be like dark black, jet black. So I thought that I haven't watched it again yet. I have to watch it soon.
Okay, that's...
Because the eyes of the windows.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But you don't need to know that by the end of the movie.
No.
Even if McCready and Childs are the only two left and they're both human, it still doesn't take away from, like, knowing if one of them's the alien doesn't matter at that point.
Well, yeah, they both say that, you know, it doesn't matter now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter now. We're all dead. We lost.
Yep. It's very nihilistic.
And I've heard that talk. I've also heard the Carpenter thing where you can't see Child's breath.
But you can if you look close enough.
I think it's just, I mean, they're just trying to throw people a bone, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody's always trying to figure out the mystery ending. The closest we ever come is there was a comic book series that takes place after the events of it. I think Dark Horse Comics put it out. It might have been a 4-issue series.
Oh, where they go and collect it and it gets loose?
Yeah, they go to the Arctic and, like, they find out that, like, they find the bodies of McCready and Childs, but then, like, on the way back, the bodies thaw, and I think McCready turned out to be the thing.
Okay. But none of that matters.
No,
I mean,
no, it's just fan.
It's one of those
fiction.
rare movies that, like, it's one of those rare movies that can be open-ended and it doesn't ruin anything.
Yeah.
Because the movie is not about... Now you're making me think about this on a philosophical level. The Thing is not a movie about finding out who the Thing is, even though that's like what they're doing the whole time.
Yeah.
It's about how easy it is and how tenuous relationships are for everything to break down. Because as soon as this alien, you can use the alien as a metaphor for anything.
When you go back to the 1951 movie, especially, it was like
the watch the skies kind of thing. Yeah, it's like the Russians are coming.
But it was still the Cold War was still going on when this movie came out, right? The ball didn't.
Yeah, actually, those are the Reagan years. So yeah, the Cold War is still going on. But I don't. This isn't like there's no overt Cold War message in this because I don't think Carpenter was particularly interested in doing that.
No.
Metaphorically, what the Thing does is it's just this outside for it just shows you how tenuous relationships are, because as soon as the Thing comes in there, everything that these people didn't like about each other beforehand becomes an issue.
Yeah.
You know, they don't like the dog guy because he's always off on his own and they probably would have never said that to him if nothing had happened.
Yeah.
Everybody would have gotten along and gotten out of there if there'd have been no alien. But all it takes is this one thing. One thing to come and just change how people see each other and how they react to each other.
I know you gentlemen have been through a lot, but when you find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch!
The humans are as dangerous to each other as the alien is. Because really, the alien just runs around and tries to stay alive the whole movie.
Yeah. Well, there's some people that say that the alien is actually not the antagonist. It's trying to hide. It's trying to rebuild the ship and get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
It's just that humanity,
it's just waiting. Yeah.
Humanity is terrified of anything it doesn't understand, especially something that can look just like you and mimic you.
And it doesn't really, it doesn't get aggressive until there's only a couple people left. And let's be honest, the reason there's only a couple people left is because they keep killing it, or trying to kill it.
Yeah.
And they end up killing each other in the process in a way. So, it's a lot more clever than people give it credit for. And that's why I think it transcends horror. I haven't even talked about my movies yet.
No, you haven't.
We're already here.
Next.
All right, so we're almost to the theater. I'm just going to squeeze in
it's all you.
movies I try to watch a lot. Movies I try to watch a lot are House 2. I love House 2.
House 2, the second story.
This place gives me the creeps.
I saw House 2 before I saw House 1. And when I was about, I don't know, whenever it came out, when I was 8. Awesome movie.
It's funny, it's not even a direct sequel, it just takes kind of the concept from the first movie and then goes in a completely different direction.
Yes. Well, and if you're going to disrupt the continuity of a series, you might as well do it with the very next movie.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But it's so many crazy characters added. We had the little
basically
dog pillar and stuff. And
it's just that the house is the reason that things are going wrong. But this one's cool because it was cool to me as a kid. How awesome would it be to open a door and you could go into the prehistoric times, in your house.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just such a great concept. And the movie, the execution, and it's by far the best performance by Royal Dano.
Oh, I love Royal Dano.
He's just the grandfather that everybody's always wanted.
You can call me Gramps.
Surprise!
Who is this?
You can call me Gramps.
It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It doesn't matter if you've seen House 1. The two movies are in the same series, but they're separate as they could be from each other. The first House is great. William Katt's awesome in that. But the second one's I really love. And then my other movie that I just really love, and I try to watch it as much as I possibly can, just because it creeps me out, is The Gate.
There is a passageway to the most evil place you can imagine. A gate behind which the demons wait to take back what was once theirs. And now, someone has opened the gate.
Oh, I love The Gate.
If you like Stranger Things, and you like the interaction of good kid actors in a tough situation, in a horror kind of situation, then The Gate is for you. It's just a really, really creepy, those little demon things.
Yep.
When that one little demon thing bites his leg, that always freaks me out. Still to this day, I can feel it. I can feel it on my leg when he bites it. It is a great movie. It's the last time that, what is that guy's name though? He's still an actor. He was DK
Stephen
Frost.
Dorff.
Yeah. It's the only movie I like Stephen Dorff.
Well, yeah, the kids, they're both great child actors. All of them are, really.
The special effects are outstanding.
And the special effects
and
are
the guy who
really
did the special effects for this is the guy who did, he did a lot of the work for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, all the forced perspective shots and whatnot.
So,
yeah, it's hard to believe how much of that is just guys in suits on a regular set, and then it's amazing.
Oh, yeah, and it works. It looks great.
It still looks
and they
great.
did it on a shoestring budget.
Yeah. The stop motion's even decent.
Yeah, it's, the end. The stop motion at the end of this, and to compare it, is as good as at the end of the thing. It's that good. And it shouldn't be. It has no excuse to be. This is just a little Canadian movie about some kids that open the gate to hell. Which is like an everyday thing, really.
Yeah.
They have opened the gate. Pray it's not too late.
But yeah, The Gate's another one I try to watch a lot. We're at the theater now.
Oh! Pothole.
Jordan, you're terrible, terrible driver.
Well, okay, I'm sorry I didn't see the giant pothole at the start.
You're the slowest terrible driver I've ever ridden.
Oh my god. I'm trying to drive slow so we don't crash when I'm talking to you.
Like, you drive so slow, when you get to that age where people slow down naturally when they drive,
I'm gonna drive fast.
You should just be like in a horse and buggy at that point. All right, guys and gals, whoever listens to us, to our dear listener, thanks for listening. And I hope you guys have a happy Halloween. I hope Jordan edits this in time for Halloween. How about that?
Oh, that's just cool. That's just cool.
You're still sitting on a Star Wars thing.
Oh,
like
my
anyone
goodness.
needs to review Force Awakens at this point.
So yes, have a happy Halloween. We'll be back again soon to discuss Shin Godzilla.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nature has a way sometimes of reminding man of just how small he is. She occasionally throws up the terrible offsprings of our pride and carelessness to remind us of how puny we really are in the face of a tornado, an earthquake, or a Godzilla. The reckless ambitions of man are often dwarfed by their dangerous consequences. For now, Godzilla, that strangely innocent and tragic monster, has gone to Earth. Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.
Yeah, step on into the vault.